Hey everybody, it's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog, coming from you today talking about Charlottesville Angry White Men book coming true. So I am not one to go, okay, all these people are absolutely crazy, let's hide them from society. Now, why are you gonna say why is that? Because I'd much rather they come out and be out there in public showing their face so you know who they are. Now there is a phenomenon going on, and there's a book Michael Kimball wrote called Angry White Men, and it's a lot of we're being oppressed, when really what you read kind of behind the lines of the book is we're financially oppressed. We're financially being crunched right now, so we've equal it to oppression and people hating white culture. Now let me get this very clearly. If you watch this channel at all, you know I'm a conservative, actually a very staunch conservative. I actually went to CPAC one year. That doesn't stop me, because at the end of the day I'm more on conservative living, right? People, the top 20% of America are getting married, have high income jobs, buying rental properties, or just have investments essentially. And it's a different stratosphere. So maybe they're a little bit removed from the guy who is making 45,000 a year or 35,000 a year and feels like Hispanics or Indians with the dots or whoever is taking his job. So it's tied into all that. It's tied into every bit of that. The book, you should definitely read it. It's a thing of losing respect in society, right? There is and I think this is for men in general, but the guy who was a married guy that went to church and had a great job, he was respected. If you were a guy living at home playing videos, you were a bum. If you're a guy just working out of the gym all the time and you didn't have a good job or family, you were a bum, right? The respect that used to be accommodated to someone who, let's just be honest, was a white male who had got married, who had a job for a while, was higher, okay? Another thing you'll see with a lot of these marches, there are white women out there too. And there are also white males who are high numbers that are not married. Now, you can say some of that's MGTOW movement. Some of that is they're angry that women are not super in shape or small or whatever and being feminine. But a lot of it comes from the naturally seeing other people do well. Now, why is this important? If you go on Facebook and you go on Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff, and every day of the week you see people traveling all over the world in sales jobs or making 100,000 a year, and they have a hot wife, and you are somehow stuck financially in a $35,000 to $50,000 range, you're angry. Now, this is not me saying this. This is from studies where people are actually in maldepression states because their spouse doesn't look like other people's spouses. They're in maldepressive states because their financial life is not equivalent to their neighbors. There are people in maldepressive states because, for the first time, you got to realize with the baby boomers, they're taking care of their grandparents, their parents who may have Alzheimer's or older health issues, and a returning college student that's living with them. So for the first time, what you're seeing is a rise of an angry white population. And sometimes it has a lot of race tied to it, and sometimes it doesn't. Because what we've allow people to believe is affirmative action is taking something away from them, when really we looked at the rates and statistics, affirmative action has only really worked for white women. Now, here's something I would like to say. I respect Gavin McGraw for kind of stepping away from the marches they had yesterday. He's big on, hey, look, have kids, get married, have kids, go to work, have a great life. And when he saw the movement was starting yesterday to turn to racism, Nazism, he was like, nah, I'm out of here, dude. Like, you guys are losers. So I respect him. Now, there's another lady from Canada. She's out there. I'm not going to say her name. I just feel like she did a disservice to herself and disservice to the people out there. If you saw it the night before, you had Nazi salutes, you had all these guys with tiki torches, and there's some comedians who are making jokes like, hey, it's a Friday night on a college campus. You should be somewhere at a toga party or getting laid. And to some extent, he was right. But I really think it will do you a service. I think people think this is silly season, but if you go read Michael Kimball's Angry White Man, you will see there are people now seeing, and I think the whole Barack Obama era kind of brought that to light, that there's a whole stratosphere of Indian Americans, Mexican Americans, and Black Americans who have college degrees, master's degrees, living well, living like the Obamas, and their life as a white American making 40,000 a year, and their wife maybe makes 30, she's a teacher or something, and they're struggling, and they're pissed because somewhere along the line they got I've even been in college where I've been in classrooms where people go, well, poor Black people do handouts, and I go, what are you talking about, dude? I come from a family that owns real estate and has, properties in one town, and you're really the poor white trash because you live in a trailer. And I remember my teacher I thought I was going to get in trouble. My professor literally said, I would love for you to come to class all the time, on time, because you are the epitome of what they do not think exists. You're a brown person. And what was funny is at East Carolina University, we had a ton of second generation Virginia, Maryland, DC, New York, African Americans who were down there, and it was cheaper to send their kid out of state for 15 grand or 10 or 15 grand at the time. It was cheap than for them to go to college in New York. And so for this poor white person to be like, well, I'm better than you, but you're not. This is a second generation wealthy family sending their kids south to reap the benefits of being south and it being cheaper. And that's what you have. You have a lot of people who are now waking up to the fact that they are broker than they thought. They don't have as much money as they thought they had. They don't have as much anything, And so there's a book, Glenn Beck's book. I'm trying to grab it real quick for you guys. I don't have Michael Kimball's Angry White Man. I have it on Audible. But this book right here, look at this book. I want you to look at it. I know people hate Glenn Beck, but I really want you guys to look at this book. It's called Glenn Beck's Book. And it talks about, it goes detail for detail. It's over almost 400 pages. But it talks about how, we just are in a debt cycle that we're so broke. I don't think many Americans realize the first signs of us being absolutely broke was Hurricane Katrina. An American city went underwater, and the federal government did not have the money or allocate the resources to go community by community, school by school, and just rebuild the whole thing. Now, I promise you, if something happened like that in Virginia, brick wall, street by street, would be repaired. And I'm just telling you, that's the first sign of America's decline. Now, I don't believe in a shit will hit the fan scenario. I know we love talking about that if you're in the conservative community and if you're a gun owner, but I think you'll have a long decline. And what I mean about long decline is you're seeing some people, white people, realizing, oh my God, I only make this much money, and like the cost of a house now is like $400,000, and oh my God, like what is happening? And so even with the MGTOW movement, you have some people getting divorced. Now there's two types. Now I tell you guys, I support any man who's like, you know what? I'm going to go work. I'm going to go make money. I'm going to go live my job and not worry about women who don't care about me. I will give it to you. But if you're some guy who lives in your mom's basement and you can't get laid, or you're just not good with ladies, or you just can't make moves, and you're kind of shy or geeky, you're probably one of the guys that was outside last night. That's being really honest, because those guys didn't have a chance to get a girlfriend, get a wife. They're trying, but they're not getting results. So they're angry. And so then they say, well, I'm MGTOW anyway. Well, no, you're not. You've tried and you failed. That's the key. And so I just want you guys to realize that half those guys there aren't racist. What has happened is they are financially, oh my God, I have credit card debt, I have student loan debt. And it's somebody's fault. It's somebody's fault, damn it. It's Obama's fault. Oh shit, he's gone. It's the black dude's fault. Oh, he's not even working in the same job as me. It's the Indian guy's fault. Now listen, some of this does tie into legal immigration, but you got to realize when you see immigrants, 90% of the time, if you're seeing an Asian, a Indian, or certain ones, they have paid to get here. They've paid to get here. They're starting, they've started investing. And what happens is, I tell you guys this stat all the time. I know it drives people crazy, but you bring a penniless Haitian and a penniless Korean, because it costs so much to come from Korea. On average, the Korean and the Haitian come here penniless. Within 5 years, according to the IRS, the Haitian and the Korean usually have either $1 million in assets or $1 million in income, which really doesn't mean income. It just means they may have a business or two businesses, or they're working a job and they're doing all this stuff. And it's just coming out to $1 million, basically. They're technically a millionaire. Now, how is that possible? Because the Asian is the Asian, and the Haitian is probably as black as this t-shirt I'm wearing sometimes. And sometimes they're lighter. No, don't get me twisted. But 9 times out of 10, the Haitian speaks French and English, or French and Spanish. They're coming here very educated, and they're coming here and they say, how do I get the American dream? I have to own assets. I have to have a business. Now, I'll talk about this in a second video later today. I'm going to do the next video right after this one. But top 3, cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki. 1, stocks, 2, businesses, 3, real estate. And so when people try to have these fights against reality, is what I call them. I think I could just work a job and throw a few dollars a month into 401k, and when I'm 50, I'll live a great life. Well, go talk to some 50-year-old people. Go talk to some 50-year-old white people. They are having high suicide rates, high drug addiction rates. The fastest group of people 45 to 54 that are losing their jobs are people 45, 54 that are losing their jobs. And I have the last couple times I had the grass cut in Austin, it was an older white guy, and he had 2 Hispanic guys working for him. Last time I went and got my car fixed by this mechanic, it was an older white guy. And he was like, well, I'm just doing it to make ends meet. And, you know, I have a skill and I'm using it. So anyway, I'm going to look at the comments really quickly. So if you got any comments, throw them in real quick. But I'm going to close this one out because I really feel that is, these people, D.L. Hughley talked about it. These people feel like they're losing America. You know, these factories went away from them. You know, all these Mexicans are coming in. The government's not stopping it. You know, all these Indians are coming in. They're squeezing out engineers. You know, how dare them oppress us? But really, if you think about it, I mean, if you talk about oppression, are you talking about lynchings, hangings, people not getting access to jobs, access to loans? That's true oppression. And for you to be upset because you realize you're in debt to your eyeballs and you're only going to make 40 grand a year and people don't walk around respecting you, that's not oppression. That's just crime. So, and honestly, I think Barack Obama stirred up in people of, they thought all African Americans were poor and disadvantaged. And then they see there is a whole top 20% of African Americans who are wealthy, business owners, engineers. Like I just told you guys before the surgery, but last year I was in the hospital and everybody on the floor that was a doctor was African. 2 doctors were African. The nurses were African. The only white people in there were like poor Ohio white people who had moved from Ohio because they were strapped. And I know everybody keeps telling me Ohio's doing fine, but they moved from Ohio because they were absolutely broke in Ohio, and Ohio was in the ditch, and parts of Ohio is in the ditch. And they moved to North Carolina to be a nurse. So, I mean, it's you got to realize if you go to a hospital, and I hear this all the time from people who are nurses or doctors. If you're a nurse or you work in the medical field, you can let me know in the comments. But they talk about all the time how people will come to hospital and say, I want a white doctor. I want a white nurse. And they'll kind of go, well, baby, you're going to have to wait. To find a white doctor, you're going to need about 30 minutes. You're going to have to wait. And people are waking up and realizing America has been different for about 20 years now. You know, when I talk about the 1 in 4 children under the age of 10 are Hispanic. So I'm telling you, in 8 years, you're talking about Hispaniola, okay, everywhere, okay? The last census, that's why I think they're doing such a big push for this census. So you can see the numbers. 28% increase in Hispanic births, 25% increase in Asian births, Asian population, 9% increase in American Indian. Okay, some of those people with the casino tribes are like popping out kids. Some of them are just still poor and popping out kids. 8% increase in African Americans and 2% increase in white Americans. 2%. Half of all white women under 35 or something don't have children. I'd have to relook at the stat, but just to give you an example, like they feel oppressed and under an assault because the country's about to be very brown. And I told you guys this on this show. If you watch this channel, I think there's going to be 10x times the shootings of teenagers and black people. Now, why do I think that? Because the population of people under 18 are already like 60% minority. Like if you're under 18 and you go to school, like I'm just talking about Austin, for example, Austin IDS, all these white parents left Austin IDS because they said they had poor test scores, but really they have 60-70% minorities. Hispanic, black, Asian, you name it. Then these same white people go to Cedar Park, and Cedar Park is like 40 to almost going to be 60% shortly of Indian Americans and Asian Americans. So they just go from section to section, and it's all brown children because that is the future. That's what this country looks like. Now, the American dream can still be the American dream, and I'm actually separating some of my conservative talk and putting on a separate channel because I just, at the end of the day, if you are a minority, if you are a woman under 35, there's still programs and grants and different things that you could kind of soak up to get a farmer's loan or get a different business aspects. But when they do offer them, if you're not paying attention, you get left behind too. Indian Americans own 48% of all the hotels in America. Now, how did that happen? Now, some they bought the little rundown hotels, but Marriott and Wyndham and all the big name hotels you can, they kept going around saying, you know what, you guys are complaining about diversity. We will offer discounted loans. We will get you in the door. You don't even need the amount of money that it takes to open a hotel. We will do it. If you are a minority or a veteran, we will do it. My mom even went to some of the meetings to find out if she wanted to own a hotel because they were trying, but who walked up in there and took it? Indians and Africans. Okay, not African Americans, but Africans. So you have to be vigilant. You have to be studying opportunity. Now, all these people say, well, Erica, you don't understand. I have kids. I come home. I'm tired. I'm vegging out. I'm sorry. You're vegging out too many hours of a day. You do not make enough income to veg out that many hours a day. And that is really, truly the anger of the angry white men. There are people with $70,000 in student loans, and they're like, oh my God, I don't make that much. It's just math, some of it. So I'm gonna read your comments real quick, and then I'm gonna roll out and do my second show, which is about how to get 10-year plan, how to get your decade right. We're gonna actually talk about a woman who lived in a house 9 years and still didn't have her money right for free. So let me read these comments. Okay. Brian, I'm from Virginia. My BB. All right, poor little white folks. They are experiencing what Black life has been since being loose from slavery. Oh, let us not forget they're also caught up in the grip of drug abuse. Now, might be, I'll give you a little hint on that. What happened is they surveyed doctors to try to figure out what happened. Doctors for the past 7 to 10 years have been overprescribing on accident due to all the marketing stuff, paying prescription pills to white people. Now, what happened to those same Black patients and Latino patients and Asian patients that got in car accidents, that were injured, and they prescribed them less medication? When they asked the doctors, why did you do that? They had the same symptoms or the same kind of car accidents or broken legs or broken bones. And the doctor said, I know this sounds terrible, but I thought African Americans would sell the drugs or were lying or don't receive pain as much. They even did a survey that showed that most doctors think Black people feel less pain. So when I got my, I know this sounds crazy, but when I went and got my surgery, and every time they asked me my pain level, I said 10 every time, even if it wasn't 10, because I wanted them to not treat me as though, well, she's fine. Look at her. She looks fine. It's hard to acknowledge pain in another person when you are different colors. I mean, I think sometimes people see little Black children and go, look, they look so happy. It's fine. Or he looks so angry. And it's like, no, he just looks like a serious baby. Stop. So, so yes, there is a big drug abuse problem in Kentucky, Ohio, the Rust Belt, Pennsylvania. I mean, they're literally having people drop left and right. One mayor in the town said, listen, we're not going to revive you. You guys are sucking up resources. So we're going to go see the other calls first and then come see you. And guess what? All the drug dealers stopped buying drugs in that town because, you know, if you don't get revived, you die. All right, Harrison Booth, the Turner Diaries, oh Lord. Might be, there are white supremacists. Being broke is just an excuse to openly display their hate. I think this is what I would say. I've met several white guys who said once that they were kind of in that mindset, they joined the military and left and right were Black and brown people just like them, normal everyday people. They were just not exposed. And when I went to college, I remember my friend Kenny saying there was one of his fraternity brother's sister came and she's like, there weren't Black people in our town. And after she got drunk, she hung out with them. She started crying and saying, you guys are the nicest people. I feel so bad hating Black people. They didn't even have Black people in their town, but they hated Black people. I have a friend in Texas and he feels bad for saying it. He said, but we hated Mexicans. There were no Black people in our town. Why would we hate Black people? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, people are not exposed, and so they assume. I've gone in stores and people assume I have kids or assume I got baby daddy drama, and I'm like, I don't have any children. I'm college educated and I have my own business. I could tell y'all whole videos of stories when I ride on planes and I tell somebody I own a business. The white person's like, how are you? You don't have kids? No, I have kids. I have a business. Wow. Like, I mean, it's sad, but it's called stereotypes. But anyway. Kobe Bryant, Charlottesville's only 45 minutes away from me. You still can invest and dominate all over there. Carfelli is killing their grandchildren. I don't know what that means, Harrison Booth, but I'm pretty sure it's a drug. Their overdoses are sky high. Exactly. Many whites are happy to think Black people are doing worse than they are. Never mind how many Black women and men that are busting their butts for years. Go on and say the correct term. White supremacy is the reason why Black and brown kids will be harmed. Part of that, yes. I've even seen studies where they think Black kids are 10 years older. So I have a 10-year-old nephew and he's very tall. And I go places and I go, he's 10 years old. Like, I make it very clear. Like, if somebody starts talking to him and they go, oh, you're a tall kid for 10, because they just don't associate. They don't have, John Moore, black people better start arming themselves. Well, you already saw, since Trump's in office, African American, Latino gun purchases have been through the roof. It's just the reverse. Just like when Obama came in, there were high purchases from white people. So, Little Miss, preach it. Children are a luxury most people can't afford. They really can't, and it's unfortunate. I hate saying that, but I remember someone telling me they had 5 brothers and sisters or something, and I was like, how'd your parents do it? He's like, we ate spaghetti all the time. We had a garden in the backyard. I mean, you would have made him think he was like the poorest white person, but they lived in a nice neighborhood. So, but they were struggling, essentially. Gosh, there's a ton of comments. I'm gonna finish them out and then I'm gonna close this video. Ebony Hayes, when Barack Obama came along, they realized many black people are not the narrative they see on TV. They are smart, wealthy, and not dependent on the government to live. Not all of us are ratchet. Exactly. Barack Obama was the sea change of like, what? Wait a minute. Like, and when his cabinet was full of all these black people, and they were going, well, they're not qualified. Well, then they start reading off, every one of these people have college degrees. Every one of these people have served in the military. Every one of these people is this and this and that. They're liars. Eric Holder's a liar. He's unqualified. How? He's been a lawyer for 30 years. I mean, I'd have conversations. I have a friend and she's like, oh, Barack Obama's unqualified. He's the worst president ever. And I go, how? And my friend, she's one of my good friends too. She's like stumped. I can see it in her eyes. I don't believe she's a racist. I don't believe she's a racist in her heart. I think she truly believed Barack Obama was a bad president and he did something. And I go, what did he do other than healthcare that I hate? I hate that bill. I think it's terrible. But anyway. I think if Mitt Romney did the same thing Barack Obama did the last 8 years, we wouldn't even blink an eye. I'm being really serious. Okay, Mike B, the less pain thing originated from Selby also. In fact, experiments were performed on black people all the time while alive for the sake of science. Yes, this is documented. There's a book, I forgot. I haven't read it. She's on my list to read. You guys know, like, I took a break on reading all these books. I've just been building the company. Little Miss, the roosters are coming home to roost. You know, I wonder if that preacher will come out and say that again. I remember Barack Obama. But that's what it was. It was the start of them feeling that. Michael Allen, hey, Erica, thanks for giving us a different way of looking at what's going on. This is important. We see these events as they are. Yeah, listen, Michael Allen, I really, truly believe this is a broke white guy angry movement. It's not half of these dudes. And when people look at make memes about it, half these dudes are working at Home Depot, Lowe's, they're teachers, they're police officers, they're all these people that are walking and talking to us every single day of the week. But the problem is they are discontented. They didn't get the wife they wanted, or the girlfriend, even the girlfriend they wanted. They're not making the money they want. They see everybody traveling the world. Like, I remember one of my friends getting mad. He was like, all these African American women, all they're doing is having hair and shopping and traveling. And I said, dude, he's a white dude. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, look at my Instagram. And he just showed me a picture of all these white girls, these white and black girls traveling. And I was like, well, where'd you get that from? Well, I went on YouTube. This black guy said all these black women are doing that. And I was like, what? Come on, man. You know, so I think when people start feeling like, how can they afford to do that? Even on this channel, people come in here, how can people afford to do that, Erica? Easy. They go to the bank, they get a business line of credit. That's why I talk about credit so much on this channel, because there are people, white, black, Asian, Latino, who are living well, but really they just got a $20,000 credit card and was able to keep that apartment and keep that car. I told you guys one time I lost an apartment for $200. I was short. My bank had charged me some kind of chargeback for $200. And I was like, are you kidding me? Let me make a phone call to my mom and we can pay this. Or let me make a phone call to one of my uncles and we can just swipe a card over the phone. Little stuff will trip people up. You know, I could go on, but that actually happened to me once and I was so pissed. I was at the courthouse like, give me 20 minutes to make a phone call and I'll just swipe a card. So anyway. Okay. Okay. So Wofeng, I see what you're saying, but here's the funniness of it. The reason I'm doing this video, it's not because I'm subservient to white people. I'm actually not. I actually own my own business and I do my own thing. The guy or girl that has to go to work every day around white people and they feel bad or they have to convince their white coworkers they're really nice, those are people who are subservient. Now, there's nothing wrong with working a job. Work a job if you have to work a job. There's a lot of black supremacists out there, black extremists and black people who are like, I'm in control, who don't own their own business. They don't have any real estate. They don't have a micro business on the side. They don't have any stocks. They don't have any bonds. Sorry, you're just a angry person who had, you're just the equivalent of what I'm talking about in this video if you don't have any of those other things. Now, but I do love just discourse. Thank you. I see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, like, that's just in their face. That's just in their face. Like, if you live in Washington, D.C., what I find it funny about it being in Charlottesville is they live in the mecca of all these Black people in big old homes and fancy cars and married, and they aren't the stereotype, and they're like, the hell is going on? Right? So that's why I think it's funny. Mike B. So sad they were delusional for so long. At the end of the day, it's about the 1% versus the 99%. See, I'm really tough about Little Miss about the 1% conversation. If you saw my video before this and the article in Huffington Post, everyone's broker than you think. If you make $90,000, you're in the top like 2% almost. Right now, $90,000, depending on how you can get that. A government job. There's military folks, if they have a lot of years in the military, can get that. My mom got that in the military. There's several people who are in that category for a little while, right? Now, $90,000, there's only like, if I remember correctly, it was only like 7 million. Was it 7 million? It was like 5 or 7 million people who fit that. So imagine filling out your taxes and saying you make $90,000 a year. You're only one of 7 million Americans out of 300 million Americans. Okay, if you make 100,000 to 250,000, let's say just you or with you and a spouse, that's only 7% of all Americans. So there's only 10 million Americans. Now, why am I saying 10 million? Because Social Security is going off of 153 million Americans are working and doing taxes out of the 300 million, because, you know, children and whatnot. And so out of that, only 10 million Americans. I mean, I can go to my church right now, and just to give you some of the elitism. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like my church, I could probably point out 150 people in there who make that minimum. It's in Arboretum in Austin. There's another church across the way in Bee Caves. Their whole audience is nothing but 1%ers. The whole church. They donate lots of money all year long to all the charities around the city of Austin. So my thing is, to be careful, I'm trying to be careful here. If to say somebody's a 1%er, a lot of those people actually know them. And the husband makes 100K, the wife makes 80, and they don't feel rich. This is the key of what we're talking about in this whole video. They don't feel rich. They feel angry. They feel what's happening? I don't make enough money. Inflation's eating them alive. So it's not necessarily oppression. It's feeling oppressed. So anyway, we'll take that up again, Little Miss. Definitely we'll hit up that 99 to 1% conversation again. But I actually know so many people who are making 100,000 that it started to kind of change my mind. Now, they're not everywhere. Let's make that very clear. I've just chosen to live in one part of Austin and go to a church in one part of Austin, and all these people end up being my friends in a certain group context and realizing this is not the norm for everybody else. A lot of people have friends who aren't ever going to make 40. They're just going to make 40, and they're not going to really make a lot of money and travel all the time. So just I always want to say, when you talk about the 1% thing, you got to slice it easy. All right, so Little Miss, preacher girl, only way we can win is by living well. Wilfo, all my friends make over 100K. Do you live up north? I'm telling you, it's very interesting. If you talk to people who make 100K, they do not feel wealthy. And I'll bet you money that some of those guys in that march, they may have not made 100. I don't think anybody in that march made 100. I think they are all making 60, 70,000, maybe 80,000, but they feel oppressed. How dare I feel oppressed? I can't travel as much as everybody else. I feel oppressed. So, okay, Little Miss. But they feel oppressed because they make poor decisions like having 5 kids and 2 cars. Oh, honey. I told you I worked at H&R Block, and I could tell you stories. Blow your damn mind. It was crazy. Wolf Fund DC. Oh, honey, right there. That's what I'm talking about. DC. And there's a book called Eugene Robson, Disintegration of Black America. Please check that out if you get a chance. But they are basically showing you how you have very 1% Black people and top 20% Black people. A lot of my clients have been top 20% Black people in America, and they don't even know it. Like, they make high incomes, they're married, they're trying to invest in real estate. Like, they're different from a whole another segment of the mainstream. Now, there's a whole mainstream African Americans who are just fine, but then there's an abandoned section. And if you go to DC, you'll see that those two groups don't interact. Like, they see each other on the street, stuff happens. But like in Maryland, even when I was in Maryland, I was near Fort Meade, and I went to this other part of Maryland. It was like a gated community, all of these gated communities of Black people. Just, what are you doing over here? I mean, it was very funny. So anyway, Ebony Hayes, 100K salary is different in North versus South versus California. Exactly. Like people in Austin, Texas making 100K, they used to feel like they were balling. But I know people who live in North Carolina on 100K, and they got boats, they got a vacation house at the beach, they got they got an acre and a half of a house, they got a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, and it's cheap. They, you know, the 100K is almost balling out of control in North Carolina and South Carolina. But and they all have ridiculous cars. But anyway, so I'm gonna wrap this up. This is the end of this video. Listen, if you guys want to join me in about 10 minutes, I'll be doing the video about 10-year plan. There are some videos I saw online that I drove people crazy on Facebook, but I also will be blogging at the Classy LCL Climb blog, as I will turn this one into a blog. You guys, this is a great discussion. I thank you guys for attending. I know it's been bombarding everybody in the news, but we have to really look at this for what it is broke white people being angry. Yes, register. I'm a big pro-gun person. Go get registered. Go take a firearms class. I told you guys when Trump came into office, I went to our firearm. It was like 20 African American women in there purchasing firearms and other stuff. And it was like the guy at the counter was just smiling. He was a white guy. He's like, "This is amazing. I love this." So I think you should protect yourself. Yes, 1. 2, how do you protect yourself even more? Make more money. Get away from these people. Have space. Live in neighborhoods where you choose. But we'll go on that another day. All right, everybody, this is Erica, Classy Climb blog. Thank you guys so much. You are awesome people. Thank you, Wo Fung. Love ya. Great talk. Little Miss, thank you. Elsie Archer. This is a product of social generation who compared themselves to social profiles instead of previously judging by your neighbors. Let me tell you something. I'm taking a screenshot of that, Elsa, and it's going into the blog article. You have won the comment of the day. So everybody, I'll see you guys in 10 minutes. If you show up for the other show, have a great day.